Hi everyone. During this week 5, I want to talk about the upcoming paper assignment. I imagine that you're starting to have questions about what this paper will look like, and now is a great time to address them. You might want to have the assignment description and rubric printed out or pulled up in front of you as I talk this through. This paper asks you to observe another educator and to analyze the data you collected from observing. It asks you to reflect back on what we've discussed thus far in our course, and in this sense, it's a midterm assignment, as you will be integrating and drawing upon our course readings and content. Students always want to know how long it should be. It's suggested 5 to 7 pages. If it comes out to be a few more pages than that, that's okay, but the point is that you want to offer a concise and well-crafted analysis. Please do not wait any longer to set up your observation site. Now is the time. This is important because you will want to have enough time to analyze the data that you gather. You can observe in the site in which you work, but as I stated last week, I would encourage you to observe in an age level or a subject matter that is different from your own so that you have a bit of distance and it won't feel too close to home. It can be an adult education setting, an early childhood setting, an experiential setting, it doesn't matter. The point is that you're able to observe an educator in action. I keep referring to classroom culture, but the classroom can be non-traditional in form and in format. Be sure to ask permission in advance of observation. Please do not just drop in on this educator. It's not professional and it's not kind. Explain to the educator the purpose of the observation, that you are not there to evaluate him or her. It's possible that this educator will ask afterwards what you thought, and you can consider what you want to share, but the purpose is not to evaluate. Explain that you are there taking notes for yourself as a student, but not so that you're offering feedback. That's not your role. Instead, this is an opportunity to reflect upon both the theoretical and practical ideas that have emerged thus far from our course. This is so that you can consider the elements that contribute to classroom culture. In this assignment, you are considering both the learning environment and the instruction that you observe, and how these two intersect. You want to see a class in action and use it for as a vehicle for considering how classroom setup, the voice of the educator, narrative, classroom management approaches, the materials that the educator draws upon, however this is defined, and the activities he or she facilitates, how they all contribute to classroom culture. So all the things we've talked about thus far in our course. Data collection. How do you go about collecting data? You will want to bring either your laptop or a lot of paper with you, however you're planning on collecting your data. Make sure that you are prepared. Get to the site early. Give yourself enough time to look at the classroom setup, see what is up on the walls, etc., and to record as much as you can while you are there. Once again, I'm really hammering home, you are not there to evaluate. You want to try to take descriptive notes as best as you can, describing what you see. For example, writing down in your notes, the teacher is using a PowerPoint rather than the teacher is doing a bad job of using PowerPoint. Write that the teacher is using PowerPoint and there was a technical glitch that you saw. Be as descriptive as possible. Have an open mind. Record what you see and hear and be as present as you can. And afterwards you could write down some hypotheses or questions that you have, but try to describe what you see. And you will need to be selective. You're not going to be able to record everything that's going on, especially if there are many students or if there's a lot of material being covered. So what I encourage you to do is to become very familiar with the assignment so that you can use the guiding questions in the assignment write-up as lenses for what you want to look for and what you want to describe while you are there. This will keep you focused. Right after you finish observing, I really encourage you right afterwards, as soon afterwards as you can. If it's that evening, that's fine, but as close to the observation as you can, to look over your notes, fill in any gaps. Maybe some words got left out, maybe you didn't have time to write something down that you saw. Do it while it's still fresh in your mind. I promise you, if you wait a week, there's a lot that you will forget. You will want to create a rough sketch of the classroom setup. So do that while you are there. Again, don't do it afterwards. While you are there, try to sketch what you see, even if you only have a minute to do it. Eventually, you will be converting this sketch into a drawing that you will submit with your assignment. You'll either scan in the drawing, or you'll use software, use your computer to generate a drawing, but you will be submitting that with your paper. So how do you develop your paper? What do you do? So once you have your data, you will want to consider the story that the data is telling you. I refer to this as cooking your data. You have the raw data and you want to make something of it. You want to make sense of it. You're going to want to spend time with your data and think about what does what you observed suggest to you about how the educator is facilitating learning and crafting a learning environment. Where did the educator sit or stand? What types of activities were enacted? What types of materials were used? How were the learners seated? How were they grouped? Again, you are considering the interaction between environment and instructional approaches and how this all contributes to classroom culture. So you will want to give yourself time to do this. You won't want to do it a day before the paper is due. This takes time. As you review your data, what big ideas are emerging? Again, this is why you want to give yourself time to really make sense of your data. You will need to be selective. You don't want to share everything that you saw. It's not possible, but rather, as you look through the guiding assignment questions and then as you review your data, what big ideas begin to emerge for you that you would want to share in a paper? And really thinking about the 2 or 3 big ideas that are coming out. Additionally, as I noted, this is a midterm assignment, so you will want to look back at our course content, our discussions online, and review the readings to help you in your analysis. You are asked to cite at least 5 readings to support your analysis. Any 5 readings that we've read to date by the time the paper is due. How can the readings help you to discuss what you observed, and how can they support you in the points you are making? Please do not insert a big quote from a paper. That doesn't help you to explain how the readings connect to what you're sharing. Instead, please refer to the reading, cite the reading, and say a bit about how the reading connects to your analysis. For example, if you're discussing classroom setup and you hypothesize that an element of the classroom setup contributed to the learning environment, you might want to refer to the Getzels or the Mann reading or both of them and very briefly make a connection to those readings. Again, use the assignment write-up to help focus you in selecting some of the big ideas that you want to discuss. How does the educator facilitate classroom learning? What did you observe regarding classroom management, and what does that suggest? What activities did you observe? How did the educator draw upon elements of Katimba? Please note, you do not have to attend to all of the sub-questions that are offered in the assignment write-up. They are there to guide you, and you might have some questions of your own. The idea is to really think through the big ideas of your paper, all that we've discussed thus far in this class, and what it is that strikes you that you want to talk about. You want to, not to get too didactic, I know you've all written papers before, but this is the kind of paper where you're going to want to have an introductory paragraph that introduces these big ideas, some supporting paragraphs to guide me as a reader through your paper, with a final paragraph or two to tie your ideas together. You want to have a narrative thread. A few big ideas that weave through tie your paper together. What story is the data telling you? Please do not just walk me through what you saw during the observation. Once again, I keep coming back to this. You really want to be selective and take an element or two of what you saw and describe, I'm sorry, I want to rephrase that. Let's say you're discussing one big idea, then you want to take elements of what you saw to support your analysis. So you want to describe, take elements of your data to help you in your description that will support you in making the big point, your big idea. So for example, if one of your big ideas for your paper is that the educators seem to foster an environment of student meaning making of material, okay, so that is your hypothesis you're putting forth. Use the readings to help you to discuss this idea, probably some readings on constructivism, and then you want to offer observations, examples from your observation to support your hypothesis. So what did you see that supports you in making this hypothesis? So really, once again, I will say it again and again, be selective in what you choose to pull from your data to support you. Please pay attention to your language regarding hypotheses that are emerging. Try to use language such as the educator appears to, or seems to, or I think that, or I hypothesize that. We observed what we observed, and we are offering some ideas about what the data suggests to us. Try to pay attention to this distinction between description and judgment. And I know it's not always easy, but for example, there's a difference between saying the educator called on one student way too much. That is a judgment. There's a difference between that and saying the teacher called on one student several times and there are other students that the teacher did not call on at all. Can you see the difference? It might seem subtle, but try to describe what you saw and offer what the data suggests to you rather than offering an evaluation of the educator. If you do end up talking to the educator and gain some more information on his or her choices, please note that in your paper. For example, you might say, it appeared to me that the educator was using guiding questions to keep the learners focused on the key elements of the text he or she was using. I spoke with the educator and he or she confirmed this. So work that into your paper. Likewise, if you already have some prior knowledge about this educator through a personal relationship, please note that as well. So again, you will want to hand in your paper, your diagram, and the third piece you will want to turn in is 1 page of your field notes. This can again either be scanned in from your written field notes or it can be retyped and offered as an attachment to your paper, a typed page. This is so I can have a sense of the kind of data that you collected. And of course, please use a pseudonym for your educator and the institution. I probably don't know these people since you live far away, but we still want to offer a pseudonym. Please contact me with any questions that you have. I want to be able to support you in this. This might be a very new kind of assignment for you. And I think it will be fun. I wish you